Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Turkish counterpart are meeting once again. It's the second round of talks between the leaders in just 17 days. The Turkish military operation in Syria and Russia's invasion of Ukraine are both on the agenda. Stuart Smith joins us live now from Moscow for more on this. Stuart, it's the second meeting between these two leaders in just over 2 weeks. Why this frequent, and what can these two leaders get out of it?
Well, the Kremlin says that this meeting was arranged after Turkey, Russia, and Iran met in Tehran at the presidential level for a discussion mostly focused on Syria. So that's a big clue about what the priority here is between the two leaders. Turkey and President Erdogan are looking for, if not a green light to enter Syria, at least not a red light from Russia, which effectively controls Syrian airspace, while Turkey is looking to use its armed forces to create what Ankara says will be a 30-kilometre safe zone within Syria in order to try to relocate around 2 million Syrian refugees. It would be the first operation that is taken in Syria since October 2019, and Tehran, Moscow and Washington are opposed to it. But if it's going to go ahead, Turkey will need at least Moscow's support to make sure that there is at least some coordination if it does intend to continue with that operation. But there is much more to discuss as well. It's now Ankara is the main way that gas is getting from Russia to Europe, only to friendly countries as things stand, Serbia and Hungary with Russia, and not to the rest of Western Europe. So continued gas collaboration will certainly be a topic to be discussed, the Kremlin says, as well as nuclear energy, with Russia helping to build a much delayed nuclear power station in Turkey as well. Not confirmed by the Kremlin, but likely to be discussed, is also the escalation in the Nagorno-Karabakh region of Armenia and Azerbaijan, where 3 soldiers were killed earlier this week. Both leaders most likely looking to try and arrange and make sure that this does not escalate into something more like we've seen in the past. But Turkey has provided support to Azerbaijan in the form of drones and political support in the past, whereas Russia is trying to keep both sides from fighting. And then finally, there is a chance that discussions continue with Russia about potentially Ankara joining the BRICS collaboration of countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. No indication that this meeting at all will be particularly significant, but it is something believed to be discussed.
Well, Stuart, it appears that Turkey is playing a balancing act by being mostly a neutral party in Russia's military operation in Ukraine, but now it wants these truce talks between Russia and Ukraine as well. I mean, has it been emboldened perhaps by the apparent success of the deal with grain shipments?
Yeah, it seems to be exactly that. As a NATO country that still retains reasonably a friendly relationship with Russia, then indeed it is in a privileged position to be able to help. And indeed Russia, as well as Ukraine and the United Nations, have thanked Ankara for its help in getting these grain ships moving. 3 more have left southern Ukraine again today on their way to Istanbul for checks ahead of the going on to global markets. And so definitely President Erdogan sees a role for himself and Turkey to try and use that momentum to create some kind of peace deal. The problem for Ankara is that there seems to be no indication, although Moscow says it's receptive to a peace deal, there's no indication that it's looking for a way out as things stand. Also no indication that Kyiv is either. Both seem quite content to let this play out further, both believing that they can gain further advantages for their respective objectives. And so it's unlikely, I expect today, that we'll see anything along those lines. But for sure, Turkey is trying to be that partner.
Stuart, thank you very much for that. Stuart Smith there in Moscow.